I want to thank the chairman for focusing on this important issue, and this is one of several hearings that he's initiated on the subject. And I'd like to ask Director Cuccinelli about the standards to be applied to deferred action programs. And I want to make sure that he understands that to many families, this is literally a life and death issue. Many people, some on the other side of the aisle, have indicated that they are not here legally, but many are here legally, and they are under deferred action, yet they're being threatened with deportation. And sitting in the front row behind you is Nicholas Espinosa, and he traveled here today to try to save his daughter's life. She is 7 years old, and her name is Julia, and there she is, Julia, fighting for her life. She is in a special treatment program at Seattle's Children's Hospital because she's had most of her lower intestine removed and needs a full team of doctors to keep her alive. Julia is a U.S. citizen, but her parents are not. Her mother is her nurse. Deferred action has allowed Julia's mom to stay in this country, but her deferral expired in September. Her father helps support her too. His deferral expired 3 days ago, and they have both applied for renewal this June, but still have not heard about their cases. It has not been decided, and Julia's doctors say that if she leaves this country and goes back to her home country, she will die. This gives her parents 3 options. I'd say she only has 3. Stay in the United States with their daughter, even though their deferrals have expired, leave the country and leave their daughter behind without any family to take care of her, or take their daughter home, at which point her doctors say she would surely die. So I want to politely and respectfully ask you, Mr. Cuccinelli, to look at Mr. Espinosa. He is right behind you. Mr. Espinosa, raise your hand so he can see you, and look him straight in the eye. And as a professional, ask him which of those options he should choose.
Madam Chairman, Dan Renault was representing USCIS at the last hearing, and one of the things he said that I think humanizes the agency, and I don't mean I mean the employees of the agency's position in many cases, is that the hardest cases we have to deal with are the kinds of ones we're talking about today. They are cases where it is possible that the law calls for a very sympathetic person or family, in this case.
Reclaiming my time, because I don't have much time. And we had many people here in our hearings that were brought to this country by American scientists because they wanted to study their disease so that we could possibly save their lives and have medical research that could save the lives of many other people. And I feel it's a very human decision, but I think it's terribly wrong to deport someone who's come here illegally. In this case, she is here legally. But I would like to ask you, what would you decide if it was your child, if you're talking about humanizing the situation?
Any parent does whatever they can to care for the children.
Well, then, getting back to the specifics, can you say here today that Julia's parents will not be penalized for staying in the U.S. while they fight for the renewal of their request to stay here, which is pending? And in other ways, if you put a human face on it, this policy has a devastating effect on people. And if this administration claims that it has been reversed, they need to tell people clearly in writing to all the professionals in the government and to the people that are here exactly what this means in real time and what their real possibilities are. I find this language discretionary, case-by-case basis. What does this mean? Can you get back in writing to me? How does USCIS define it? My time is up, but I'd like to see in writing how you define this exactly for the purpose of review.
We do not. That's the answer, and I know you all don't like that answer. This is not an action, a program, or policy. It is the withholding of action. Madam Chairman, you just described what might make an excellent individual standard in a piece of legislation. People coming here and doing scientific studies and getting medical care sounds to me like it would make an excellent piece of legislation.
Well, simply
We
put,
don't have that.
one
We
last
don't have
question.
that.
Will we be applying exactly the same standard to deferred action going forward as the agency used in the past? Yes or no?
We did not explain, we did not pose any standards other than the case-by-case decision, which then goes up functionally to 4 regional directors who are career employees, and they talk to one another primarily to make sure that they are implementing this process consistently across the country. But there are no standards we've given them other than what you see here from the acting secretary of the language of compelling facts and circumstances, because we don't have a legal basis to do so. We would welcome that from you all.
Well, have
but
you
we
written
do not.
guidance?
The
Have you
gentleman,
provided training? I yield back.
thank you. The gentleman's time has expired. So thank you for your answer to that. There was one question embedded in the gentlelady's thoughtful line of questions, which was, what would your recommendation be to people in this situation? I heard you to say that parents will do, that all parents legitimately will do whatever they can for their kids, and I take that to mean that they should continue to stay and have their children treated.
Of course, all of you know, I can neither give them legal advice, nor will we sit here at a table in front of you and decide individual cases, in accepting full well how sympathetic the case is, which is exactly why we use the kind of compelling facts and circumstances language that the Secretary did. But if you're looking for me to decide a case here, I cannot do that, and I believe you all know I cannot do